Most people think public administration is a modern subject, something created by universities, governments, and policy experts. That's not true. Public administration is as old as civilization itself. Because the moment humans started living in organized societies, they needed rules, records, taxes, leaders, workers, soldiers, judges, and people to manage public life. In simple words, public administration began when humans realized one thing: a society cannot survive only on power. It needs organization. Think about ancient Egypt. Building pyramids was not just about stones and workers. It required planning, food supply, labor management, transportation, record keeping, tax collection, religious authority, and central command. That was public administration. They may not have used the term, but they were applying the concept. And sometimes we do the same thing in daily life without realizing it. When a school organizes exams, when a mosque committee manages donations, when a restaurant schedules staff, when a family plans a wedding, or when a business distributes responsibilities, they are using basic administrative principles: planning, coordination, authority, budgeting, rules, execution. Now imagine that same logic at the level of an empire. Ancient China built one of the most advanced administrative systems in history. The Chinese civil service system used examinations, records, hierarchy, and trained officials to manage a huge territory. This was a major idea. Government should not run only through kings and relatives. It needs capable administrators. Then came ancient Rome. Rome did not become powerful only because of its army. It became powerful because it knew how to govern. Roads, law, taxation, city management, military logistics, public works, provincial administration. Rome understood that conquest is useless if you cannot administer the land after conquering it. That is the real lesson. Power can win territory. Administration keeps it under control. In the Islamic world, administration also became highly organized. The caliphates developed systems for taxation, courts, public treasury, postal communication, military organization, land records, and governance across large regions. The idea was clear: a ruler cannot personally manage every village, city, and province. So institutions are needed. Then, in medieval Europe, administration was often connected with monarchy, church, land ownership, and feudal power. But as societies became larger, trade expanded, cities grew, and wars became more expensive, governments needed stronger systems. They needed money, they needed records, they needed trained officials, they needed permanent departments. This is where the modern state slowly began to appear. Then came the rise of bureaucracy. And this is where public administration becomes more formal. The modern government needed offices, files, rules, ranks, departments, and professional civil servants. People often hate bureaucracy because it feels slow. But historically, bureaucracy solved a major problem. It made government less dependent on personal loyalty and more dependent on rules. Instead of every decision being based on the king's mood, the system began to rely on procedures, records, laws, and official roles. Then came Max Weber. Weber explained bureaucracy as a rational system based on hierarchy, rules, specialization, written records, and merit. His idea was not that bureaucracy is perfect. His idea was that modern societies need organized authority. Without structure, government becomes personal, emotional, corrupt, and chaotic. But bureaucracy was not the only influence. During the Industrial Revolution, factories changed the way people thought about management. Large organizations needed efficiency. Workers had to be managed. Processes had to be improved. Time, output cost, and productivity became important. This influenced public administration too. Thinkers like Frederick Taylor introduced scientific management, the idea that work could be studied, measured, and made more efficient. This thinking entered government as well. If factories could improve efficiency, why not public offices? If businesses could manage performance, why not government departments? Then came Woodrow Wilson, one of the most important names in public administration. In 1887, he wrote an essay called The Study of Administration. His argument was simple but powerful. Administration should be studied seriously. He believed politics and administration were connected, but different. Politics decides what government should do. Administration figures out how to do it properly. This became one of the foundations of public administration as an academic subject. In the 20th century, government became even bigger. After wars, economic crises, and social movements, states started doing much more than collecting taxes and maintaining law and order. They began providing education, healthcare, pensions, housing, welfare, infrastructure, and economic planning. This was the rise of the welfare state. And when government responsibilities increased, public administration became more important because bigger promises require bigger systems. A government can promise free education, but who builds schools? Who hires teachers? Who designs curriculum? Who pays salaries? Who monitors performance? Who ensures children actually learn? That is administration. Then after World War II, many newly independent countries had to build their own administrative systems. Pakistan, India, Indonesia, African states, Middle Eastern countries all needed institutions, civil services, planning commissions, tax systems, courts, police, and local governments. Some inherited colonial bureaucracies, some tried to reform them, some succeeded. Many struggled, and here is the brutal truth. Independence gives a country political freedom, but administration decides whether that freedom becomes real development or just another flag on a map. Then, in the late 20th century, another big shift happened. People started criticizing government for being too slow, too expensive, too rigid, and too inefficient. This led to new public management. The idea was that governments should learn from businesses. Focus on performance, reduce waste, measure results, outsource services, treat citizens more like customers, use competition and efficiency. Some reforms worked, some created new problems. Because government is not a private company, a business can focus on profit, but a government must also think about fairness, rights, equality, law, and public interest. Then came the digital age. Public administration moved from paper files to online systems. Passports, taxes, licenses, health records, identity cards, welfare payments, and public complaints started moving into digital platforms. Countries like Estonia became famous for digital government. Now citizens could interact with the state without standing in long queues. But digital government also created new questions. Who owns public data? How secure is citizen information? Can poor citizens access online services? Can algorithms become biased? Can surveillance become too powerful? And now we are entering the age of AI. Artificial intelligence is changing public administration again. Governments can use AI to detect fraud, predict traffic, improve healthcare planning, answer citizen queries, analyze documents, monitor public spending, and support policy decisions. But AI also brings danger. Biased data can create unfair decisions. Automated systems can deny services without proper explanation. Surveillance can become stronger. Citizens may not know how decisions are being made. So the history of public administration is not just the history of government offices. It is the history of how humans tried to organize power, from ancient empires to modern states, from royal courts to civil services, from paper files to digital portals, from bureaucracy to AI agents. The main idea has always remained the same. How do you turn authority into organized action? How do you convert public money into public service? How do you make rules work in real life? How do you manage people, institutions, and resources at scale? In this playlist, we are not studying history just to memorize names and dates. We are studying it because every modern government problem has roots in history. Why bureaucracy is slow, why civil service is powerful, why corruption survives, why reforms fail, why some states deliver better services, why some governments collapse during crises, why technology alone cannot fix bad institutions. Because history tells us one brutal lesson. A country is not built only by leaders. It is built by administration. Leaders announce visions, administrators build systems, and systems decide whether a civilization rises, survives, or fails. At the Learning Studio, we will understand public administration not as boring government theory, but as the hidden operating system of every state. Because once you understand its history, you stop seeing government as just rulers and speeches, and start seeing it as centuries of systems, institutions, rules, power, failure, reform, and public service, all fighting to answer one question: how should society be governed?